Hallöchen everybody, it's me again, Rafi, EU Aerosoft Community Manager, and today we have again a video. As promised, we will show you today the first moving pictures of the upcoming Aerosoft A340-600 Pro Series, and with me together is Torsten here again. Hello Torsten.
Hey Rafi, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, and he's today without camera because he's full focus on programming and coding it. So as a developer always, he says he's not camera worthy. I don't know if it's correct, but we will leave it as it is. But if you want to get known Torsten a little bit better, I can highly recommend our 3 videos we did with him together already here on this YouTube channel, where we're also talking about the development specific systems of the A340. So just click the link. I will just link it somewhere here around, and then you will see even Torsten in picture. So we will jump straight into my gaming setup and show you the 4 scenarios we had at the DFS conference in Paderborn, because there was our first public release or demo release where the people could try, and I promised you are getting the full 4 scenarios here as a video. So that's what's about today, and we start with the first one. So let's jump straight into the game. So the first one, as always, I'm not briefed. That's how it should be. I mean, I did the scenarios with you together, but what we're seeing here is the EFB. We don't go through the EFB, but we will show a little bit some kind of, let's say, nice load saving situations, because what you did, and maybe you can explain a little bit, and I can show you as well in the EFB. 4 scenarios. What we have to expect today from the 4 scenarios, Torsten?
So the idea was that people at the FS conference would be able to try out the airplane and see some of the more advanced features in terms of system functionality. So we've done 4 scenarios. The first one is, let's say, the beginner's version. There you actually don't have any faults. It's just a simple landing in Quito, which is located like 9,000 feet. And the approach starts with a right turn into the final. So it's a really nice RMP approach through the mountains. The second one then is the exact same approach, only that during the approach we already lost one air data reference in cruise, and now on approach suddenly one of the pitot tubes clogs up and the speeds on the left and the right side start disagreeing. So there's only 2 speeds left. Both of them are reading different values, so the computer says, I don't know what to do with this anymore, so up to you. And basically, based on that, the aircraft drops into alternate law, and the procedure is to turn off both air data references, both remaining air data references, and then you get the backup speed tape. So the idea of this situation is a little bit to show how do you fly the aircraft if you're using only the angle of attack-driven backup speed tape. And then the situation 3 and 4, they're not in Quito anymore, they are in Frankfurt, which, by the way, comes with a really nice Aerosoft scenery. And so the first one is landing after a dual hydraulic failure. So again, the scenario is you've come from a long flight. In flight, we unfortunately lost the green hydraulic just as we wanted to start our descent into Frankfurt. So we still continue through to our destination, but already 1 hydraulic down. And then as we approach Frankfurt, suddenly the blue hydraulic pump also fails. So now you're down, you don't have green hydraulics, you don't have blue hydraulics. The landing gear is extended using the green, so regular extension doesn't work, and we need to use the gravity extension function of the landing gear. And the 4th one is a takeoff in Frankfurt, where you'll lose an engine short after V1 going up, and that engine doesn't just quietly go. No, it takes some of the systems with it. So it's engine failure with damage, meaning that it damaged the green hydraulic system, which is gonna leak and lose all liquid shortly. And then in the course of the procedure, you're gonna notice that other systems are damaged too. I don't wanna give too much away at this point.
All right, okay, that sounds great. So you have to expect today a little bit longer video, but that's not a problem, because it's quite impressive how the aircraft behaves and how the systems are all linked together. So that's what we have been talking in the 3 videos before. Will be shown perfectly nicely here. But just one disclaimer, before we started the first scenario, is it's still in development version. We won't show the outside, so don't look or search for it. because we want to show it when it's pretty, and it's here and there some parts are missing. For example, you will notice this white wiper. I will let you know just in the beginning. It's untextured right now, so don't expect to have a black wiper as it should be. And if you see here and there some flickering in terms of shadows, etc., that's also a limitation, maybe due to my simulator. So it's currently in development. That's important to say before. But without further ado, you will see how good the aircraft is. We will show you always, before the scenario starts, a little mission info, like briefing. That's what we had at the FS conference in Paderborn as well, so that people could read the briefing and they knew what to expect. I won't look at the briefing again. I obviously know the 4 scenarios, but I won't look at them, so I'm a little bit, as in real life, unprepared for the, let's say, situations. But you can make a screenshot of them or stop the video, read it carefully, and then you know what to expect in the situation. Let's go with the first situation. So basically it's a normal approach. So we hit here and hit load situation. And it's not working. Oh, it's working, sorry.
It just takes some time because it has to load all the FMS data, etc. So it takes a bit of time.
Yeah, what I do, just to make sure that it's running, I click it second time. So then it's running perfectly. And as you can see, we are now more or less perfect in the approach. And I just set up my own lighting here because I don't like the bright light here, but it's a personal preference.
You
so
can
this
see
is a normal. Go.
Yeah, this was really, as we said, the beginner situation, right? So you can see the aircraft is already fully configured for landing, the flaps are out, the gear is down, and all those things are reinstated by the situation load. However, just for those people who are not familiar with it, if your joystick position is different from the situation, at some point suddenly the MSFS will read the joystick position and then idle the engines or move the flap lever to wherever your joystick flap lever is. So one thing to always make sure after you loaded a situation is make sure your thrust levers are in the climb detent, exactly, and make sure that your flap and sled lever and gear lever are in the position corresponding to the one of the situation. Otherwise you'll end up with a nasty surprise at the point where MSFS suddenly decides to read those data, or when there's a little flicker in the axis and then suddenly this new axis value gets overridden. So the idea of this approach though was to not do it with autopilot but to do it manually. So
so I need to switch off.
At some point you're supposed to switch the autopilot off, exactly. Just taking the red button
Hang on. Yeah, I need to prepare myself just quickly here with the seat. Okay, so because then I feel comfortable.
Yeah, okay, if you good.
Right.
Okay.
So I just click this button here.
And so this is in the beginning it's an RMP approach, but then it's a long straight line into Quito. So what generally happens with approaches like these is that as you pass through your minimum descent altitude MDA, which we will see coming up on the display in a minute, the aircraft will then actually leave final app mode and go into heading and vertical speed mode. And at that point the pilot, well, we are below minimum, so we have to be visual with the runway, and the pilot is then supposed to switch off both flight directors and do a fully visual approach onto the runway. So down there on the altitude tape you see the MDA coming. So roughly you were now ahead of time, you already did it now, but technically the latest point in time to do it, no, it's fine. You can do it earlier if you want to. I know the latest point in time where you would have to do it is now that the orange tape is getting towards the center of the altitude tape. And now we had the minimum call out, and you can see the altitude is now in amber. So this is the latest point in time where you need to disable the flight directors and do a manual landing.
I guess I have not configured my thrust reverser.
Well, you can put the auto brakes on, and then you don't need, well, I mean, the brakes are gonna get warm, but if you don't use thrust reversers, but it's fine.
So
you can see
it's sorry.
It's a relatively high airport, right? So we have a ground speed of 170 knots, despite the fact that our airspeed is only 150. So it's gonna be a long rollout. That's a nice. 9.
This was a hard one.
It's still in the range of what the landing gear can take. But so yeah, and you can see the auto brake nicely slows down the airplane. At this point in time, would be good to exactly disable it. And yeah, we're not gonna make this exit, I guess. Would have been good because the next one is a bit far away. But
let's
okay.
brake a bit further down.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, do you want to switch on the taxi cam or?
Yeah, why not?
There, yeah, as you mentioned in the videos for the conference, the taxi cam is working within the limitations that Microsoft Flight Simulator provides to us, but it is a very useful tool for taxiing such a long aircraft on narrower taxiways. The idea is you see these little magenta squares next to the nose wheel, and the idea is really that you start your turn when you see the taxi guideline pass that or hit that magenta square. So now we're on a straight line, but like when you want to see on the next, like the right turn onto the taxiway to get to the terminal there, we'll just simply wait until we see the line pass the magenta square, and then we initiate our turn.
All right, okay, let's try it to not mess up.
So because the main landing gear is like 30 meters behind you, so you really need to basically overshoot with it. Oh, you want to go that way? Okay, I thought I wanted to go the other way, but okay. Exactly, but that's exactly the idea.
I mean, it's a nice help for turning or trying to turn this aircraft as good as possible.
Exactly, yeah.
And I mean, this was an easy turn, like 45 degrees now, but if you have a 90 degrees turn, which is then a little bit more sharp, it's a good help. I mean, this relies, as we said, on the limitation on the MSFS, but I mean, come on, it's cool having here something moving on the PFT, and it's a cool wow effect. If you will use it first time, you will fall in love straight off it. Even it's, not 100% perfect, but yeah, that's what it is, what we have here right now. And we love it so far. All right, so let's switch to scenario 2, I guess.
Exactly, yep.
Okay, so brake the aircraft here. So we will go the hard way. We click like here, situation load. And boom, we are again in the air. I will move the throttle forward, so then we are perfect aligned as we should be.
Yeah, exactly, yep.
There you go. Good.
So FMA looks good. That's always after situation load, quickly check that your FMA is what you expect it to be. If it isn't, just load it again, and then the initialization will work on the second one at the latest. So yeah, this scenario we already lost one ADR, which you can see on the status page. It says Cat 3 single only, ADR 3 I believe is in-op, and yeah, Cat 3 dual is in-op. And in a second you'll see that the speed indicator on the right side starts doing funny stuff, because the pitot tube has frozen up and the pressure reading is wrong. Okay. Don't remember exactly. Ah, yeah, there you can now see it exactly. So suddenly that speed is dropping while the left one stays constant, and once the difference is too big, the computer then starts rejecting the ADRs. And because there's only two left, both are saying different things, the computer cannot know which one is right, so it rejects both of them. And now the procedure asks you to switch off. There's no procedure for this on the ECAM. This is actually a paper procedure, and that procedure is to switch off both ADRs. So we go into the overhead panel, and we switch off. You see ADR 3 is already off. We switch off ADR 1 and ADR 2. And bing. And yeah, so we are now in the ADR 1, 2, 3 fault scenario, and we have this beautiful speed tape. And this now means you fly pitch and power. So you end up, 50% N1 is actually good for this maneuver. I think in the card we set 45, but every time I tried it, I then later realized 50 gives better results. So, and you use the pitch angle in order to keep your speed. So currently we're going a bit slow, so we need to lower the nose in order to get back to our target angle of attack effectively. So the speed tape does have some compensation for load factor in it, so it's not that every time you pull or push you're gonna see it go up or down. It really tries to give you a relatively clear indication of the speed, even if you are flying load factors different from one.
Question from my side, the ECAM, like probe window heat, etc., do we care about this, or just we try to land as soon as possible?
For situations at conferences, we generally don't want people to go through the procedure, right? Because then you would have one person blocking the computer for like half an hour. So in real life, of course, you would actually abandon your approach, you would go through the procedure, you would then brief the approach for this new condition which you just got. But yeah, so this is because it's a conference setting. In real life, you would abandon the approach, go through the procedure in peace, and then restart your approach with the backup speed tape as your briefed approach procedure.
Okay, you see, I end up not so perfect as I did in the before. That's
yeah, we're a bit high actually. I think you need to take a bit of thrust out.
Oh, too wide, too red so far I see, but yeah, it looks like off here in
okay.
Quito, but it's okay.
Ah, yeah, no, too. It's too wide, too red. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is actually a nice example too, how mountains or mountainous terrain before the runway can really screw with your perception. Yeah.
500, 400, 300, 400, 300, 200, 100.
Nice.
50,
Looks.
30, 20.
Yeah, okay, we still practice the flaring, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's really hard to land the aircraft. But
yeah, just shut it up. It's actually good. Okay.
And we're down the runway. Good. Are you happy with my landing? I mean, it was landing 3. I mean, it was also here pre-selected in the performance. I mean, we don't see it after landing, but it was all set in the scenario. So you prepared all of this, right?
Yeah, this was again because it's for a show where people don't have time to go through the whole procedure. It was prepared already for the procedure with a backup speed tape in place, which is and an alternate law, which is a flap 3 landing type. Yeah.
Okay, so let's switch to Frankfurt. All right, here we are in situation number 3.
Exactly. So we already lost green hydraulics on the way, and now you see the blue hydraulic is on its way out. So, and now, yeah, now we have the situation blue and green hydraulic. Low pressure, which is immediate disconnect of the autopilot. Luckily, auto thrust itself stays on. So rule number 1 is always fly the airplane, right? So this is the one thing we need to keep in mind is don't worry too much about the ECAM actions. The primary thing is keep the airplane stable, and then when everything is calm in the cockpit, then you can worry about proceeding with the ECAM actions. So as we lost the green hydraulics, you'll need to use the gravity extension for the gear. However, if you check the status page, if we scroll down a little bit to the status page.
A little bit thick. I just want to make the aircraft stable like this, all right?
You'll see that it says, okay, go to status, please.
Oh, so fast?
Exactly. Yeah. For landing, just one. Just the first status page. Exactly.
This one.
So for gravity landing gear extension, maximum speed 250. So at the moment we are at 250, so we'll wait a little bit before we drop the gear, because you can see on the ND there's a little magenta bubble coming up, so there will be a speed reduction coming up in a minute. So we'll wait for that speed reduction and then we will drop the gear in order to not exceed this 250 knots limit for landing gear extension. And it also says if you check the procedure for landing, use flap 3, so we're gonna not go above flap 3. And again, because this is a prepared scenario on the perf page in the FMS, it is already set to config 3, if you look at that. So we've already, all of this was already prepared. Again, in real life, you would abandon the approach, go through all the checklists, make sure, and then brief the approach for these conditions, and then start it a second time. Okay, so now we've reached the point where we're slowing down, so now we can drop the gear. So in order to
care about blue engine pump too, or is it just for the time being?
Well, yeah, you can switch it off, but it's not gonna do much. Yeah, if you want to switch it off, yeah. Yep, okay. The electric pump you don't need to switch off actually, because we didn't lose the liquid. It's only the engine pump itself that was
right,
lost.
okay. Okay,
Good.
so gear down, right?
Gear down, yeah. So you open that guy, you open the second guard, so they really don't want you, and now you push that thing all the way down. And while normally you shouldn't drop the main gear lever with that, okay? Normally the main gear lever you only put it down after you drop the emergency, after you set the emergency extension down.
So it was again my fault.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really hard to make. I mean, it looks easy. Okay, gear's down, so normally now gear lever down, right?
Yeah, exactly. So once you drop the emergency extension, then when you see it's confirmed down, then you drop the gear lever afterwards. Okay, good. So we just actually intercepted the glide slope. So now we need to keep flying the airplane. And now at the speed that we're at, we can start extending the flaps. Also, you can see that like the two little amber bars that extend that represent VFE next are above our current speed. So you can now set flaps 2.
Speed check flaps 2.
And as you can see in the engine warning display, because we lost 2 hydraulic circuits, the slats are frozen in position. So blue and green are the 2 hydraulic circuits that drive the slats. So those are not going to go anywhere. Lucky for us that we had already slats 1 out before we lost hydraulics, because landing with no slats is significantly more difficult than with slats 1. Your speed is much, much higher if you don't have any slats at all. Okay, and we can actually go to flap 3, and like that we are configured for landing. In order to get the landing memo, it may be worth it to just clear away the ACAM warnings, so that we can see. And yeah, now okay, good. So yeah, that's the gear page where you can nicely see that one hydraulic system is gone. We still have nose wheel steering, which is very interesting. We don't have braking anymore. We only have braking from accumulators, but nose wheel steering is still there.
Okay.
So yeah. At some point the landing memo is gonna pop up, and there we can just check. It's gonna remind us, for example, to arm the spoilers if we forgot to do that up to this point. But I mean, we can also do it preemptively. Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I did, like in the background.
Yeah, I saw that exactly.
Okay.
So okay, we still need to tell the cabin crew that we're ready to land.
All right, let's click this one.
Okay. And now
good to go.
landing memo all green. Or no blue, depending on which procedure you like.
So what was funny with this configuration, with this hydraulic, let's say, issue we have, you have only one reverser. It's reverser 3. It's because of the Airbus limitation. And I mean, I did not configure it because it's not needed beside of the landing and keto. Okay, sorry for that. But during the FS conference, we had it configured, and some people tried to use it. And if you have only one reverser working, which was engine 3, it was kind of, let's say, hard to get hard to keep the aircraft on the runway. So you recommend to use it, to not to use it, right?
Yeah, in my test it was better without it, especially because you're down to a single hydraulic circuit. So the power of your control surfaces is also heavily limited. So you really don't want to do anything that risks or that requires additional control efforts. So I would not use it and just use braking. I mean, you're really in a very crippled airplane, so anything where you can get to a full stop on the runway is good. You know, you don't need to worry about like brake temperatures or anything like that. But concerning brakes, because we're on accumulators, you need to make sure that you apply the brakes once and then keep it steady, because the accumulator is being used every time you release the brakes and you apply them again. As long as you just have a constant braking force, the accumulator does not lose any further pressure. So that's why here manual landing or no auto brake and just slowly, I mean auto brake is disabled anyway, but yeah, just go once into the just set once the brakes and then just ride them out and come to a rest before the end of the runway, and all is good. Yeah, all these situations were done with rather high weights. So if people wonder about the sink rate warnings, because we have rather high weights, we have high approach speeds, and then the sink rates when tracking the glide slope manually can get into the area where the warning triggers. Oh. Look at that.
Finally. So I should better use always no hydraulics for landings.
No, I believe the difference is actually Quito versus Frankfurt, because we're not at 9,000 feet. Our ground speed was significantly lower despite the hydraulic failures. And if your ground speed is lower, your descent rate is lower, which makes it much easier to flare. Flaring at a place like Quito is a different technique than flaring at sea level.
Okay, we stay easy on the brakes, but constant.
Exactly.
And you see the accu pressure. Oh, sorry, the accu pressure is going down,
but not too much.
We have still enough left to brake safely here on the runway. Ooh,
exactly.
There you go.
Perfect. And normally, I guess we still have nose wheel steering, but I think this would be a scenario where you would ask the airport to tow you off the runway, because you don't want to end up in a scenario where you're taxiing with your nice steering, but your brakes are suddenly deciding, nope, I'm not doing this anymore. So this would be a point: apply park brake, shut down the airplane, and wait for the airport to assist you.
Okay, and let's go to number 4, last but not least.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here we are on the runway.
Yep, we're on the runway. The flight plan is loaded. The speeds are in. All good. You need to flap. I think the flaps are supposed to be 1 though. You need to move your flap lever to position 1.
Yeah, it is as it says in the FMGC flaps 1. So we just check this here. So as always, make sure the hardware aligns with the scenario.
Exactly.
That's what we said in the beginning. Okay, so far so good, right?
Yep. So just take off as if it is a normal day. Yeah.
I don't know if the wind is okay, because I was today in a test flight. The wind came just from behind, so that's going to be even more challenging. But let's find out. Hang on, where the wind comes from. It's from the right. Okay, 3 knots. That's
3 knots is no wind of concern. That's
no factor. No. All right, so let's go for it. Oh, parking brake, sorry.
Yeah, that helps to remove.
Yeah, that helps. Yeah. Manflex SS, other trust blue. So we inspect an engine failure after V1.
Exactly, yeah. And it's, because it's a preloaded situation, right? It's gonna be engine 1. So the one with the highest yawing moment you can get. However, you will notice, if you've ever done engine failures on single aisle aircraft, you'll notice a huge difference between engine failure on a single and a quad jet. On a quad jet, your climb performance has very little impact from the loss of the engine. You need to make sure to keep the runway straight. But other than that, you'll notice the airplane still climbs really nicely, even just on 3 engines on flex thrust. So Yeah, don't strike the tail, please.
Yeah. It's afraid. Gear up.
Okay, yep, exactly. And yeah, so you can see now you can actually engage the autopilot if you trim that out a little bit. Otherwise the autopilot is going to do the trimming for you. And you can see basically here, if you look at the ECAM actions at the moment, the only thing it says is move the engine start selector to ignition. The reason for that is, again, fly the airplane first, so the aircraft does not want to distract the pilots in the first 30 seconds from flying the airplane. So the only thing you do is that in order to make sure that none of the other engines fail. And now that we are 30 seconds into the air, now the actual ECAM procedures start. So first item is move thrust lever 1 to idle, which is the standard procedure for engine failures. Exactly. And move the master switch to off. That's it. Good. Now we said it is an engine failure with damage, which you could notice in real life based on engine vibration settings, noise that you may have potentially heard, or in our case also hydraulic fluid leaking. So we assume it's with damage, so next item is fire push button 1 push. Even though it's not lit up, but that's because there's no actual fire, but there's still because there was damage, we want to remove all flammable liquids from the engine. Now the thrust lever 1 idle is punnily back, but that is because we killed the FADEC. So now we've removed all power to the FADEC, and the flight warning computer doesn't know anymore the position of the thrust lever. So the item comes back even if the lever is still in idle. That's the same thing on the real aircraft. So Agent 1 discharge, this is again, we don't have any fire warnings, but just to make sure nothing burns, we're gonna release Agent 1. The discharge takes a little bit of time normally to come.
There you go.
It comes up, exactly. And again, there may be items that flew through the wing, so we're gonna switch on the tank split function for tanks 2 and 3. This adds an additional divider into the inner tanks 2 and 3 in order to avoid that if there is a leak somewhere that the entire tank leaks empty, but only so you conserve some of the fuel that's still in the tanks. Yeah.
That's done.
That's done, so we can press the clear button in order to remove that item. Now the next item is engine 1 shutdown. Fuel balance monitor that's a long-term item to keep in mind, but the TCAS is supposed to go from TARA to TA only.
There you go.
Yep, item done. So clear to remove it. And now we can see, okay, green reservoir, low level. So the engine, didn't die peacefully. It damaged hydraulic piping on the way, and all the liquid leaked out. So we follow the respective procedures. Engine green, engine 1 pump off. The overhead.
Off.
Green.
Electric pump.
Off. Basically all the ones that have the fault light on. It's very well done with Airbus that they always, basically it shows you
just
press me,
sure.
you know.
Yeah. But I just want to make sure not to mess up the situation even more, right?
Yeah. Okay, so we managed the green hydraulic low level. Now comes abnormal bleed config. So because one engine is damaged, we have to close a cross bleed.
So we go here.
In order to avoid hot air leaking out at the pylon. And then because now the bleed air on the left side is supposed to be off, so we also shut off pack 1 and the cargo air conditioning, cargo temperature regulation, which runs off the left side bleed system and pack 1. Okay, so we're done with this one.
So we can clear it.
And we're also done with blue system low pressure. And so now you can see in the system pages, the aircraft is still flying on its own. In the system pages, green hydraulic lost all its liquid and is low pressure. The other 2 hydraulic systems are still operating. Next page. Electrical, we lost generator 1 together with the engine, which is also as expected. Yeah. On the flight controls page, you can see because green hydraulic is lost, we lost 2 spoilers, but all other surfaces are still operating, only that some of them are only on 1 actuator rather than 2 actuators. And last one is the wheel page. We lost normal braking, which is driven by the green hydraulic system. And with normal braking, we also lost anti-skid and auto brake. But we still have alternate braking, and not just on our accumulator, but actually fully functional alternate braking.
By the way, this is still open from the scenario before.
That's something we need to work on. Yeah, we need to reset that. Yeah.
Bug report. So,
yeah.
All right. So we can clear this page, and yeah, that's the system status
That's
page.
the current status page. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So we can clear this as well. And good. Right. So we need to bring back the flaps.
Yeah, we need to retract the slats exactly because we're above slat retraction speed S. And now you can see, because we lost an engine, the speed target on slat retraction actually changes to green dot.
Oh,
and now
we have another
know
one.
Yeah, so the engine, as what got damaged, it also damaged the slat shaft. And now when you then try to retract the slats, the aircraft will notice, hey, the parts of the slats outside of engine 1 doesn't move. So when it then notices that not all surfaces move in unison, then it's gonna stop the whole system and lock it in place, which is why this error message, flight control slats locked, comes up. Yeah, that was
All right.
what we wanted to show to you today.
All right, so we just clear this all, and then from there on we would go basically back to Frankfurt and, of course, land the aircraft, because with locked slats, I guess no one will continue our flight to Riyadh. I guess that was a flight for Riyadh,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can't, with slats extended, you can't exceed flight level 200 to start with, I believe. And yeah, so no, in this scenario, you want to go back to your maintenance base too, because this airplane is going to require a little bit of maintenance after landing. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So I switch out back to my front camera, and then we make a little outro. So let's move this. Boom. Okay, so this was a little showcase today what we have shown at the FS conference in Paderborn. I mean, you have seen now me flying it. Even I knew the scenario. It was here and there, not 100% perfect in terms of pilot handling. Even I was prepared. You should see the people tried it at the FS conference, because normally we sim pilots fly from A to B, so we are not to use like 1000 ecam pages, etc. And yeah, the fault scenarios, but good props on the pilots, tried it there in person. Most of them, I would say even 100%, was like landing at least at the runway, even softer than me, even in Quito. So yeah, props on this. Yeah, any final words from you, Torsten?
No, it's the idea was really to show you guys what we can do in terms of systems. Of course, as we said, it's still an aircraft in development, so there are still some things that we will work on until release. But I think it gives a clear idea of where this is going, and yeah, what you will be able to enjoy hopefully very soon.
That's good and right words. So thank you for watching. We will have soon further informations, further outside shots. They are not so far away, so that's a good point. And yeah, then as we already said, with Thorsten together and the real A340 pilots, we're planning a live stream, and then we will do a full flight as it should be. But yeah, further down the road, we will tell you more about this. Yeah, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this short demo here. And yeah, we will come up with another one shortly. So thank you for your time again, Thorsten.
Thank you for having me.
And see you the next one. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow this channel to get more news about the upcoming A340-600 Pro series from Aerosoft. And of course, I can highly recommend on our Discord channel, which is linked down below. There you will find all other informations about the Airbus and other products we are doing here at Aerosoft. So thank you very much for watching, and see you the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.